so many films. In fact, she had also done this telefilm called Titli for Star bestsellers many years ago. Her performance in Veer Zara, then there's Heroine. I loved her performance in Delhi 6, and I'm really thrilled that she is joining me today to talk to all of you, and we will be discussing a legendary actor today. आज हम जिन एक्ट्रेस के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं वो पता नहीं कितने जनरेशन से कितने जनरेशन ऑफ एक्टर्स को इंस्पायर कर रही हैं. टुडे वील बी डिस्कसिंग द अमेजिंग शबाना आज़मी, हर जर्नी. शी वेंट टू FTI टू स्टडी एक्टिंग. उसके बाद उन्होंने कई सारी फिल्में की. हर फर्स्ट बिग फिल्म वाज अंकुर, जो श्याम बेनेगल जी ने डायरेक्ट किया था. उसके बाद उनकी कई सारी फिल्में, मेरी पर्सनल फेवरेट सती, एक डॉक्टर की मौत, और मासूम, और कई सारी ऐसी फिल्में रही हैं. आज हम बात करेंगे उनकी दो फिल्मों की. 1982 की अर्थ, जिसे महेश भट्ट जी ने बनाई थी, और 1983 की मंडी, directed by Sham Benegal again. So let me try and add Divya ji now. All right. And we'll just wait for her to. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, ma'am. How are you?
बिल्कुल ठीक ठाक. You
How
look lovely.
lovely you look.
It's become mutual.
How have you been? How is the lockdown? How is the lockdown treating you?
Lockdown's been, I think we are lucky people that, we are at home, safe and working, and, just privileged in a way. But yeah, I think these are tough times, and we need these kind of chats to keep people engrossed and entertained and all that stuff.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. So for today's chat, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time out. और इस chat को हाँ कहने के लिए thank you so much. For
Pleasure. I love your work, Shweta. I think you're a super talented girl, and it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm a huge admirer of your work. Thank you so much. For people who don't know, Divya ma'am and I have done a series. It's an upcoming series that we have acted in together. Although हमारा एक भी सीन साथ में नहीं है, और इसकी मेरी शिकायत तो रहेगी मेकर्स के साथ.
Let's hope for a sequel, darling.
Absolutely. Yes. So, ma'am, for today's chat, you have chosen to speak about Shabana Aazmi and her two performances. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I completely second that. और उनकी दो फिल्में, एक है 1982 की अर्थ और एक है 1983 की मंडी. So tell me about your first experience of watching a Shabana Aazmi film and your first experience of watching these films.
So first of all, before I start off, I must tell you why I've chosen Shabana Aazmi. I think she's somebody who's had a major impact in my life ever since I was a child, of course, through her films. और ये दो फिल्में खास इसलिए चुनी कि ये दो फिल्मों से मुझे लगा ये कौन है. मतलब I was very small and I was like, who is she? And she introduced me to another kind of cinema, which मतलब हम एक तरफ अमर अकबर एंथनी की शतरंज के खिलाड़ी, all those movies that she has been a part of, like on a parallel way. Both, she ruled both, and she fitted amazingly well in both of them. And when I joined the industry, I met her first time when she played my mother in Umrao Jaan.
Oh.
And and that time I froze because I was like, I am with my favorite. And that time हम लोग बहुत dumb charades खेलते थे, and she used to put me at ease. She has that knack of, she's very charming and very protective. And after that, we kind of really bonded. Then I did another film, 3 films with her, in fact. And the latest has been Sheer Korma, where again she plays my mother. And the biggest factor she's been in my life is after my mom. When I she's been such a grounding factor for me and support system for me. And she wrote the forward for my book. तो मेरे लिए एक personally and professionally somebody if I would ever talk about, the first choice would be her. So and coming to your question, um, मैं पंजाब में रहती थी श्वेता एंड लुधियाना में एंड आई रिमेम्बर उस टाइम वीडियो कैसेट्स वगैरह वीसीआर का ज़माना था और बहुत छोटे थे हम लोग तो मम्मी और उनके सब सिस्टर्स वगैरह दे यूज्ड टू वॉच दीज फिल्म्स मंडी एंड ऑल एंड वी वर टोल्ड के बेटा तुम खेलो बाहर तो I used to sneak in to give my mother that cup of chai कि चाय लाई हूँ मैं and then hide behind the curtain and watch totally mesmerized. And this one lady with that bindi stuck in my head कि ये कौन है और कमाल का कर रही हैं जो भी. और उसके बाद मैंने अर्थ देखी and after that for me Shabana Aazmi became like just for me and so hence uske baad when I grew up obviously I saw these films again and many times these two films happen to be my most favorite. इतना फेवरेट कि मैंने श्याम बेनेगल को भी पूछा हुआ है कि सुनिए अगर मैं आपके उस टाइम में आती तो मुझे मंडी में कौन सा रोल देते आप. He still hasn't answered that. But
what a star cast of Mandi na, what a star cast. क्या और एक character.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is, every actor is so secure playing little cameos as well. They are very secure in their space and they do something. And working with Shyam Benegal is the most amazing experience because it's like a picnic on the sets. He just gets you all to be together, have fun, and that translates on screen in the chemistry of the actors. So yeah, I think if you see Mandi and if you see Earth, same Shabana Azmi, different avatars, absolutely. And I can't decide which one was my bigger favorite, but I can only say that these are like for me dream roles, and the way she has performed has been something else. Chahe wo Mandi mein, I think the way she had put on a little weight, her walk, if you see, a little walk, the way she effortlessly says beta to Smita Patil. I mean, being rivals that time or being the same this thing, it requires that kind of a security to just effortlessly say that. And that oomph that she had and that little amazing sense of comic timing which just brought you a smile, and yet you see her being shrewd, you see her being smart, so there's so much in there in that one role. And same goes for Earth. So absolutely. It's like it is like a character study.
I agree with you क्योंकि मैं ये दोनों फिल्में कल rewatch कर रही थी back to back और you know Earth is a 1982 film and Mandi is a 1983 film और मासूम भी 82 में आई थी और मासूम में शबाना जी and Nasir साहब they played husband and wife and then you watch Mandi जहाँ पर वो she's so authoritative, you know, she's like literally वो टुंगरू को ऐसे कर रही कि अब ये ना
टुंगरू
Yes. Mandi, you know, it's actually dealing with such a serious issue. It's dealing with the hypocrisy and double standard of society. इतनी सारी बातें कह रही, but it's such a fun watch. I mean, there have been moments जहाँ पर मैं हाथ तालियां देकर हंस रही हूँ. It's you know, it's got its funny moments.
It's everything in that script. It's a satire. It's dark humor. It sends in some messages. It gives you chills. It gives you that kind of a thing of that dark side of that world, which is it just brings in that little crazy loneliness of every character, and yet it keeps you entertained. It brings a smile on your face and glued to every scene. मतलब ऐसा है ही नहीं कि और वो इतने कमाल के एक दूसरे को कॉम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं वो पूरे एक घर में. They fit in so amazingly, and I love that scene where Shabana ji वो जो गीता का गाती हैं उनके वहाँ जो सोशल वर्कर हैं, she comes to their house कि आपने वो लड़की रखी हुई है, and Pankaj Kapoor is caught and planted, kind of a thing, and she has this smirk on her face and she gives that check. Brilliantly done. Matlab, that has to be a chemistry, that has to be that comfort, and so many things coming together. For me, she was sexy, she had that oomph, and she had that authority. You sink into and peep into her soul, and you see that vulnerability, that hey, there's this woman, and that niceness and that motherly instinct she has for Smita Patil, especially for that role. All that, and that thing, I mean, unlike the others, like Soni Razdan's role is a little matter of fact, selfish. She's somebody who's connected, who's kept a secret of Saeed Jafri. Not giving out spoilers, but I'm just saying it is, you see a lot of shades of her, and that protective thing with which she hugs Smita Patil and sleeps, and suddenly it breaks into a comedy when she just catches somebody lying under the bed. So it just doesn't let you rest with one emotion. That's the beauty of Mandi. It just inundates you with so much emotion, so much color, and I think a beautifully written script as well by Shama Zaidi and Dubey Saab. It's amazing.
I agree with you. You know, the first time I watched a Shabana Aazmi film was right before the shoot of Makri. And
yes,
my mother made me watch Masoom because you know, it had kids and everything, and she said, this is who you're going to be working with, because तब मैं 10 साल की थी और आप दूसरे एक्ट्रेसेस को देखते हैं, आप वो सारे फिल्में देखते हैं, वो आपको पता है. So I was not introduced to that world at all, and my mom grew up through the 70s and 80s and with a lot of passion for parallel cinema. So she said, तुम जरूर मासूम देखो. तो जब मैं सेट पे गई थी to work on Makri, she was first of all, she was with her get up. Okay, so I was very scared of her when I met her, and she was so sweet and she was so nice. बट यू नो, मेरी ये हमेशा शिकायत रह जाएगी कि मैंने उनकी जो सारी कमाल की परफॉर्मेंसेस है अब जाके देखी है. सो यू नो, लाइक yeah, and you know, I'm right now so jealous of you. You know, आपने जब कहा कि मैं उमरा जान के सेट पे, you actually were aware that you're working with Shabana Aazmi. You were aware of her body of work and you had followed her work as an actor. तो आप वो एक, आप बातें कर सकती थी, आपने शायद कुछ चीजें नोटिस की होंगी. मैं 10 साल की थी और मैंने कुछ बातें नहीं की, कुछ नोटिस नहीं किया, और अब मुझे ये बड़ी शिकायत है कि ये सारी चीजें मैं उनके साथ नहीं शेयर कर पाऊंगी. लाइक आई होप आई वर्क विथ हर अगेन, बट मैं तब नहीं कर पाई ऑब्वियसली. बट कमिंग बैक टू अर्थ, like Mandi में, you know, it's a 1983 film, and it's around the time where she was also playing a lot of you know, very different characters from Mandi. मंडी में उन्होंने, जैसा आपने बताया मैम, शी हैड, यू नो, विजिबली गेन्ड वेट. उन्होंने एक बड़ी सी बिंदी पहनी थी, शी वाज विद साड़ी, एंड यू नो, उनकी जो पूरी बॉडी लैंग्वेज थी काफी मैच्योर थी. इट डिडंट, यू नो, इट वाज नॉट गर्लिश एट ऑल. और एक मैच्योरिटी वो होती है जो आप एज के साथ गेन करते हैं, एक मैच्योरिटी वो होती है जो आपके कैरेक्टर ने लाइफ में एज किया होगा. And then you watch something like Earth, where she was so naive, so innocent, and so dependent. I think उस कैरेक्टर की काफी co-dependency रही है कुलभूषण करवंदा के कैरेक्टर के साथ. And you know, today we speak of feminism and great portrayal of women characters in society, but you cannot dismiss these films of their time. So how many times have you rewatched this film, और हर बार देखने पे आपने क्या अलग डिस्कवर किया होगा?
If ever Earth was made again, I would surely have wanted to be a part of it. I can just say, if ever Mandi was made again, I would have really loved to do these two films. But मैंने इतनी बार देखी है ये फिल्में. Or Earth, though, I fell in love with Shabana Azmi because that role, I mean, one, though it is she is that simple woman who only knows love, who only knows this one man who she completely dotes on and loves, and most importantly, trusts. She never questioned him ever. If you see that film, she's never questioned her husband that, okay, who were you with and where you are. She only said, you didn't tell me you're not coming. Just that. That's the trust. And suddenly her heart pounds when he's about to tell her something. She can gauge there's some bad news coming her way, because I think that instinct is always there that something wrong has happened. And there's some brilliant moments. I mean, she again has brought in, there's so much grace in that role. I mean, you respect that role that she plays of Pooja, where through the eyes of Rajkiran, through the eyes of Kulbhushan Kharbanda, through the eyes of Deena Pathak, who plays the mother, and through the eyes of Mazhar Khan, who plays the friend, and Smita Patil. Somewhere she has risen from all the diversities that have been thrown to her. She says, एक बड़ा प्यारा सा डायलॉग है उसमें कि इतने कड़वे सच सुन लिए कि और सच्चाइयाँ सुनी कि और नहीं सुन सकती. I just want to be. And so she has been faced with so much, and yet she makes life feel, you know what feeling I got after watching this film again was कि कोई भी डाइवर्सिटी हो उसका कोई सॉल्यूशन तो निकल ही आता है. You can fight it out. That's the thing she gives. And for that role, I think it's not easy for a woman to, one, let go of the only man you've loved ever after that's the dream that you've had, that I want to be married to this man, and she's loved him for 7 odd years. And then he just leaves her, and she says she still is wanting to forgive him. And she says, मैं यही हूँ, जब भी मेरी ज़रूरत है आ जाना. How gradually life makes her stronger and independent, and still she's nice to him. The most heartbreaking scene for me was when on her birthday, he comes with the divorce papers and he forgets to wish her. And that expression that Shabana ji has given of strength, of facing it the way it is, not wanting to face it and yet facing it with grace, with elegance, and with dignity, and the way her eyes get moist and she has a lump in the throat, I get goosebumps even talking about it, because all that to bring in that one shot is not an easy thing, and it was amazing. And coincidentally, 18th September is what she says her birthday is, and 18th September is actually her birthday.
Is actually her birthday?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So I was seeing some, because I now know her personally. So there are lots of things I saw, little tidbits, which are Shabana ji herself. So she's, I'm sure, put in a lot of her own into that role as well, which has come so beautifully. That again, she brings that. I mean, she's a very strong woman. If you meet her, she's very sure of what she's speaking, what she believes in, what she wants to say. To feel that vulnerability isn't that easy, and yet she shows it so amazingly and shows her vulnerable side, because she actually has that side in her. She's a softie, big time, and to bring it on screen with that strength was amazing. And to say no to a guy who totally loves you, in comparison to a husband who's ditched you. You know, as an audience, you're saying, hey, mana mat kar dena, he's such a nice guy. You know, when Rajkiran proposes to her, it's like, please don't say no, please don't say no. I was like this. I straightened up. I was like, man, this is a woman who wants to live her life her way, who wants to fly, who wants to take her own decision, who doesn't want to be bogged down by any emotions anymore as of now, and just wants to live her way and not the way anybody else is showing her. And for me, that was a very, very elating feeling to see the climax of Earth as many times as I watch it. Be it with Kulbhushan Kharbanda, be it with Rajkiran, be it with that little daughter. I think it just uplifts your spirit to see such an amazing, I think it's a beautiful graph of a woman, very rare. And I think she got a national award for this film as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Rightly so, right?
She got 3 consecutive national awards. Do you know that?
Yeah.
3 consecutive awards.
But got it for
I think
Earth
for Earth, for Khandhar, and for
and
Par.
God
Par.
and
Par.
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 Acha. I thought even for Godmother she had won it.
That was much later. These were consecutive.
Oh, like
3.
one after the other.
Who does that? Yes. Yeah.
You know, her strength of character as a woman shows in so many different ways in Earth. Like, of course, like you mentioned, to her husband Raj Kiran as a friend, her best friend, her even when she's at the hostel, you know, there are other women, and that one night that incident happens where she runs away from there. So even jahan par use, she feels very vulnerable, but she has that, you know, the slowly her character learns to say no. You know how the character learns to say no, with the little incident in the hostel, to her husband, to eventually the love who's knocking at the door. My favorite track of Shabana ji, of Pooja in Earth, has to be with her maid, with Rohini Hattingdi.
Oh, it's beautiful. I agree.
So beautiful, you know, to actually feel that, to be the woman and to actually uplift another woman, I think really is the test of character.
The way she says "Mehuna" when she says "Meri bachchi ka kya hoga," and those, you know, that with Smita Patil, and she's lying in the lobby with her daughter sleeping, Rohini Hatangidi, and she comes out. Ki kuch ghanti baji kya? Just waiting that maybe he has come, or just you know, and she's the silent moment between the two ladies where she says "I understand," and she just pats her cheek and says "so." And the way she goes and rushes into the door, you can see a gamut of emotions from her mere back. कि वो कितना बैगेज लेकर टर्न किए हैं कि कहीं रो ना पड़े या उसके सामने मेड के सामने, and she just rushes inside, and I as an audience can see there she's just breaking inside when she's turned. It's magic to express all that with your back, with just your
your
body
body,
language.
you don't even need the, yeah.
Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now
See,
you
same
are
body
such a,
language you see in Mandi. Same body language you see in Mandi. I mean, how much of a difference does it make when she walks like this, and still she walks, you know, with matak ke, lachak ke, and still there's that little limp that she has, and that little feeling fat kind of a thing. वो सब चीजें, वो जो आप कह रहे हो कि एक ही साल में आई, आसपास आई हुई फिल्में, लेकिन कितना फर्क लगता है दोनों रोल्स में. एक कितना मच्योर और एक कितना you know, naive, dainty, soft role, and yet so strong. And I think somewhere the similarity also is that somewhere both the women faced life in their own given circumstances. Both of them faced life. Whatever circumstances came their way, you see Rukmini Bai in Mandi, when everyone says, get out, tum chali jao.
yeah.
When her most favorite has run away, when she has been chucked out of her own place, everything is going against her. She still has that thing of living, and she just tells her servant, chalo chale. With that zest she goes, and she doesn't leave that hope. And same here in Earth, that she doesn't give up. And for me, I think also Shabana Aazmi epitomizes that hope for me, that she is that epitome of strength for me.
Even in Mandi, you know, her, she's going through the problems. She also says, मैं complain नहीं करूँगी, लेकिन मुझे भी किसी ने धोखा दिया था एक point पे. So you know, you can also see that childlike vulnerability in her, and the strength of character of not giving away Saeed Jaffri's secret to Smita Patil.
Secret.
She keeps protecting
Yes.
her. She'll say, I'll not tell you because you'll start hating yourself. She loved her enough to just tell her, I'll not tell you this, that you know you'll start hating yourself. It's so multi-layered. It's like a palette of colors.
You know, those times the camera wasn't moving as much. It was just static on your face. There's so much that you can just catch in that one shot. And इतना सारा variety है एक ही scene में करने को. So and so much to do in one film. Look at the graphs of both the roles, where they start from, where they go. But what you don't give up on is the zest for life, and that I think is also very symbolic of Shabana Aazmi herself, the zest for life. So, so I think that whoever you are, I mean, be it you or be it me or be it any actor, what you are inherently, we might be taking on different roles, but कहीं ना कहीं हम अपना खुद का कुछ थोड़ा छिड़क देते हैं. कहीं ना कहीं वो आ जाता है कि हम ये छिड़क देते हैं अपना. वो मेरा परसेप्शन है, आपका परसेप्शन कुछ और हो सकता है. हम दोनों बहुत बढ़िया एक ही रोल कर सकते हैं, लेकिन उसका करने का रोल अंदाज अलग हो सकता है. सो उनका अंदाज जो है वो एक जेस्ट फॉर लाइफ जो है, वो उनका वो जो थोड़ी शरारत है, वो जो थोड़ा नटखटपन है, वो कहीं ना कहीं उनकी ट्विंकलिंग आईज में दिखता है मुझे. सो एंड I just feel the way she has also handled emotions in Earth, where you don't really see her crying, where it's just here and it just doesn't really drop. यही रह जाता है. That is a very difficult thing to do. And she's so amazing because she understands. I don't know how you do it, but I can't do more than 3-4 takes. मैं मैकेनिकल हो जाती हूँ, मैं बोर हो जाती हूँ और मुझे लगता है मैं रिपीट कर रही हूँ. So she knows it. I mean, I've shared everything. She knows what I'm talking about. So she said rehearsal kar le kya, because Sheer Korma again is a film which is very high on emotions. And I was ecstatic when I got to know that she's playing that role, because it's a very complex role. And again, many layers. But all I had to do, Shweta, was just look at her face. Not once did any of us use glycerine. We were all crying, just looking at each other, just those lines, just feeling that role. And she just has that thing of bringing 3-4 things together on the table for you. Vulnerability, strength, that little नटखटपन, वो सब एक साथ ले आती हैं कहीं ना कहीं. ऐसा she keeps throwing it at you, and you just have to pick up like an actor and just react, and it becomes like a brilliant shot. So she said rehearsal karegi. So I said, and yeah, so me and Swara was sitting and we were talking, we were joking about something, and Shabana ji came and sat at the dining table and she said, chalo, let's start rehearsal. हमने कहा चलो चलो, हम अब मस्ती में थी कि रीडिंग ही तो करनी है, रिहर्सल कर रहे हैं हम लोग. She came, Shweta, her body language suddenly miraculously changed. And I suddenly, from Shabana Aazmi, I saw the mother. And she sat at the dining table and she had tears in her eyes. I said, oh shit. Suddenly, my heart started beating faster. I was like, I was joking, was I? How shameful. I just forgot all that. Suddenly, I became Saira, the role I'm playing. Suddenly, that world that took me in. And she doesn't mind doing rehearsals. वो करती हैं और फिर
I think वो काफी है, जैसे आप rehearsals करते जाते हैं काफी polish हो जाता है. Also Shabana ji just commented saying I'm blushing. She has joined the chat. Yeah, she's there.
Lava. Oh.
Hi Shabana ji.
Hi Shabana ji, love you big time.
Love you big time. And I have to say this on record once again that I'm really jealous of Divya ma'am right now, because I want to work with you again. I want to experience these things again. जब मैंने आपके साथ काम किया था, मैंने आपकी आधी से ज़्यादा फिल्में नहीं देखी थी तब.
तो इस मामले में हम बड़े भूखे हैं यार, हम भी आएंगे. So yeah, what I was telling you was that rehearsal happened, and in the shot, she was matlab itna emotional, and everything was one notch higher from what we had done. And I am only reacting. So all I had to do was just, and that surprised also came in my eyes, which worked very well for me. But the work became so much more easier for me because all I was doing was react to her conflict that's going on in her head, react to her vulnerability, react to the thing that she's trying to face. She's taking a decision, a major decision, which is tough for her. All that and more.
Right.
With her, it's all that and more always. And she realized that I don't rehearse much, so she's saying, "एक rehearsal करेगी?" I said, "जी, 100%." तो थोड़ा सा किया, and she put her hand on my mouth. छोड़ दो, take के लिए छोड़ दो. How many people are that protective about you? They know what your plus point is, and they let you um, use the best of it.
Right.
And she just gets you to just fly, and she nurtures you to do that. And that's what I just love about her. And absolute fun on the sets. Absolute fun on the sets.
Yeah, she's super fun. I remember that bit from Makdi, that she's super fun to work with. So, but you know, I completely agree with you when you speak about the body language part of it. Like I remember watching a Doctor Ki Maut on screen. I mean, you know, after watching the film, I wrote 8 pages. I journaled 8 pages on Shabana ji's performance, just on Ek Doctor Ki Maut. She's so effortless. Or you know, the way she's doing her juda, वो आके अपनी साड़ी ऐसे कर लेती है या कुछ. और आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा मैम, that आपके जो co-stars होते हैं, they make a huge difference. Like you mentioned that, you know, she understood that she wanted to save your best for take, and she said कि आप वो rehearsal में मत करो. जैसे हम कुछ देर पहले बात कर रहे थे मंडी की, कि आप यू नो देख सकते हैं वो कमराडरी जो सारी स्टार कास्ट में थी, कि
उसके बिना वो फिल्म नहीं बनती श्वेता, वो पॉसिबल ही नहीं होता.
Yes.
You can see they all are having fun together. They've enjoyed each other's company, and there's that certain comfort where you can take that extra step, and nobody else will. I mean, they'll all just be there for you. So that is so amazing. Yes.
How
so yeah. So I mean, any film that you see of hers, Junoon for that matter. Junoon, if you remember. What an amazing performance that was of this woman who feels so insecure about this, of the husband being totally besotted by the other woman. And she's not somebody who's taking it coyly. She's speaking her mind and she's saying it the way it is. So all distinct different roles, vis-a-vis Masoom, if you've seen. Very gracefully. What comes very naturally with her also is grace and dignity and that inherent strength of character, which doesn't go anywhere, which comes with all the roles that she brings in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But ma'am, you are such a versatile actor yourself. I mean, I absolutely love your performances, चाहे वो वीर ज़ारा हो या वो heroine हो, or you know, even I loved you in Delhi 6. I think I told you also, हम सुधीर जी की पार्टी में मिले थे, and I couldn't stop talking about it. You were brilliant in Delhi 6. You were such a scene stealer in Delhi 6. And I have a question for you. Like, you know, you did Shaheed-e Mohabbat Bhuta Singh in 1999. And then you did Special Ops is your latest series that's come out. And, you know, in between all the films that you've done Umrao Jaan, Bagban, Lutera, Bhag Milkha Bhag. I wanted to ask you specially, how much does language matter? Is it because you've also done regional film and Hindi? Does it make a difference to work in different languages? Does that, as an actor, how do you see it any different, if at all?
Well, I haven't done too many different language movies except for a Telugu, a Tamil. No, actually, I have Malayalam. That's Punjabi. So I have. But honestly speaking, I think whatever is your language, it just flows. The others you have to work on for sure. I mean, like Diliche, I had to work on. It wasn't my language. And it was like Haryanavi, and that also with expletives, big time. And I remember another film I did, Heart the Weekly Bazaar, with it was an NFDC film with Seema Kapoor, and it was a Rajasthani dialect, which is a little more difficult than Haryanvi because there are certain words which don't rhyme. Because हरियाणवी में कुछ आप राइम कर लोगे तो चल जाता है, यूपी का अगर आप वो लहजा लेते हो तो चल जाता है, कहीं ना कहीं आपने सुर पकड़ लिया तो बैठ जाता है कान में. लेकिन वो राजस्थानी में कुछ वर्ड्स हैं जो वैसे ही बोल रहे हैं. So I remember in the climax I had a 3-page monologue. So I requested the director, can I do half and half? So she said, yeah. Then comes my co-actor Yashpal Sharma, and he says, he just pulled me aside and said, "Pura karna isko." He pushed me to do it, and I was nervous. Um, and that nervousness, I think, sometimes works very well. It gives you that raw energy to just pushes you ahead. I remember Sham Benegal does a lot of that. To his, at least I can say that. I'm sure Shabana ji could add to it. So I remember he lets you not over prepare. He just lets you keep that little raw energy for the magic on the set. That little to improvise and all that stuff. So I was doing something with him where I was supposed to read the lines. It was a teleprompter. On the set, he tells me, he says, "So what? You will do it." The pressure to perform was so much. What I would have finished in one shift, I finished it in 4 hours. That was the pressure. And I realized that day that I can work in pressure. I remember with Shabana ji, I did a film called Chalk and Duster, where I'm playing the bitch. I'm the negative this. And that time, I was a little formal with Shabana ji. Now I can just go hug her and everything. But that time, I was a little formal, always in awe. But that was there. And we were doing a face-off scene where, I'm supposed to be my nasty best, nasty worst, I would say. And she just, so what happened, she actually tells you, hey, tum thoda idhar so it was like samne camera and both of us were in profiles. She makes sure that you're not hidden, you're seen properly. She tells you कि ये मेरा सुर है, तुम अपना सुर देखो कहाँ पर लेके जाना. Prepares you and then you do what you want to do. It's so amazing. And I'm sure she could realize that I was a little tense, eased me out with joking and everything, and felt better. And then it just happened.
Wow.
आपके co-actors say, that's amazing.
Agree.
Did you miss me out?
Little bit. You said about
I
something
lost
about
you in
co-acting. Yes.
No,
You
I'm
said that
saying
she
a
helped
little
you
nudge,
change.
a little pushing from. Yeah, no, so I'm saying when you have somebody like her, that little nudge, that little pushing can just get those amazing results, which probably on your own you wouldn't. Here, I'm rest assured that I'm with somebody who knows the sur of the scene and I'm led very well. So all I have to do is just be there and respond. Acting is, I think it's just feeling, right? No, so you're just feeling something. So the way you're talking to me, I'll automatically talk like that with you. Subconsciously, I will start talking like that with you. So I think the whole onus just went on her कि ये सुर है और मैं भी उसी सुर में आ गई. So it just worked very well. So it feels nice. It feels very protected. It's nice to have somebody who shines herself and yet lets other people bask in the whole thing with her, which is amazing.
Beautiful. Shabana ji just commented, मेरा दिमाग खराब कर दोगे आप दोनों.
Achha, I want to tell her I saw these two films again and I'm in love with her like all ज़्यादा. So it's amazing to see that. So no, then you see films like Parvarish. Then you see Amar Akbar Anthony where she's wearing that thing and singing with Amar Akbar Anthony.
Which movie is that? Her and Vinod Khanna. ना मुस्कुराता हुआ ना 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 ना
लहू के दौरान I think it's Lahu Ke Dorang. I'm not too sure, but I think it's Lahu Ke Dorang.
Gorgeous,
Gorgeous. Parvarish, she and Neetu Singh together. Then Amar Akbar Anthony was my fantasy to see these three. And the best was a film called Ashanti, if you've not seen it. Ashanti was these three lovely women. Shabana ji, like the Charlie's Angels kind of thing. I don't remember the film really, but I remember these three. And I was like, my God, such like presence, amazing. So what I'm saying is, one side you see that glam side of her, which is like Manmohan Desai and all those films, and then you see Sati. Then
beautiful in Sati.
Have you seen a film called Swami?
Swami, I haven't seen Swami yet.
You have to watch this film, and it's you just fall in love with her and Girish Karnad. Oh, amazing songs, amazing moments, childlike quality in her. Again, that vulnerability. Again, that little. It's amazing. You've got to watch it. So I'm saying this, so many things coming together on simultaneously, belonging to different genres, is lovely. Back then, you wouldn't say it was demarcated as commercial cinema, as parallel cinema.
Parallel and commercial,
Here was one person who was doing both and ruling both. So yeah. So for that, for me, it was like fantasy. Then who's Shabana Aazmi? She is doing like both of them amazingly and shine.
Lovely. So I want to take a few questions for you, ma'am. There are 10. I'll just go through them.
Somebody saying I'm big friends. Okay, thank you.
So there are mostly a lot of love compliments for you on my question. This thing, if you want to ask anything to Divya ma'am, please on the question mark. There's a little question mark next to comment section. You can ask questions there. I have a question for you. You had done this star bestseller telefilm called Titli.
How do you remember that? You were introducing
I remember that. I loved it. I remember watching it. It was so beautiful. It was so lovely. When was that? And I really is that an adaptation? Because I think recently somebody made a feature film also. It's got
that was the same director who remade the same film with Tabu and Manoj Bajpayee. So it was me and Pramod Mishra in Titli. So amazing experience it was. I was fairly new that time, and we shot in this place called Chiplun. There was Taj property there. Yes. So Hemant did this for us. And I think in a span of 10 days, we did this crazy wacko film where I play a psycho. And they made it again. But I think I liked mine very much.
Yes,
the original one.
I agree. It's something that stayed on my mind for a very long time. You know, that particular, and I used to love star bestseller telefilms a lot. I remember watching it. मुझे बड़ा मजा आता था वो सारे देखने में.
I was very surprised when you said that in the intro. I said, "Arey, she remembers that film. That's nice."
Thank you, ma'am. So, well, there are a lot of love messages for you.
I know. I think I'm very loved. किसी को कुछ पूछना ही नहीं है. Thank you guys for all these lovely messages that you're sending.
Yes, thank you, and thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you so much, Shabana ji, for joining in. I'm so honored.
Pleasure when you're talking about somebody and they're right there with you in your conversation. So amazing. It feels really nice, na? See, that's her. That is her. That feels so lovely, and she's just so warm. So there had to be no other choice but her in this one. And whoever hasn't seen these two films, I would really suggest, please do watch. And if you have seen it much earlier, then please revisit, because यार अर्थ में बीच बीच में से देखने की मैंने सोचा कि मैं बीच में से देखती हूँ कि मैंने पहले देखी थी. I could not keep it. I mean, I couldn't keep the remote. I just had to watch every
Yeah.
scene, every shot. You
Yeah.
just couldn't miss that magic.
Yes.
That
Yes.
song, तुम इतना जो मुस्कुरा रही हो, and
I
those
was
expressions.
Yeah, because it's right after where she's, Kulbhushan Kharbanda forgets her birthday. He's given her the divorce papers.
It was,
She turns around and says, "Ki I feel so sorry for Kavita, Smita Patil's character. That I feel very sorry for her. 7 साल के रिश्ते के बाद, this can break on a piece of paper. I don't know how frail is herself.
herself, yeah.
And a moment where she just
Smile. That smile, she brightens up her face, and then she gets in. Was
and that
lovely.
song, एक तो वो गाने पूरा एल्बम अर्थ का इतना प्यारा है by चित्रा
और
and Jit Singh.
कैफी साहब के लिरिक्स और कोई ये कैसे बताए. Oh, breaks my heart. Breaks my heart.
Beautiful,
Absolutely.
heartbreaking at the same time. It is.
Lovely,
It is.
lovely, and lovely chatting with you, Shweta, on my very favorite
Oh,
person. It's been
thank you so much, ma'am. Oh, I'm so sorry. There are a few questions that's come in now. Um, somebody asks, can you please speak something about Badlapur and working with Varun Dhawan? There's dear Bikash who's requested this question 4 times. Can you please share your experience with Badlapur?
Badlapur for me was a very interesting experience. It was like being paired opposite somebody who's much younger to you, and a very interesting role. And I remember the first time we shot was in the Thane jail, and I could not make out the difference between the our actors and the real inmates. So, and I had Nawaz for company there. So what was very interesting here was how Sri Ram Raghavan directed us. He would just ask us कि तुम करो तुम्हें जो करना है, and then I will choreograph it accordingly. I'll place the camera accordingly. So I was a little surprised what he's saying, but then he gave us the freedom of movement, and then very gently planned it nicely. So a little mixing of what we want, what we were comfortable doing, and what he wanted. Very, very sensitive director, I must say, and I learnt a lot from Sriram. Very humble, very modest, and very sure of where I was speaking these very poetic lines. So I tried to recite them. You know, Shabana ji told me something really nice. कि मृणाल सेन ने उन्हें एक बार कहा था कि एक्ट्रेसेस कई बार ना जब बहुत सारी फिल्में कर लेती हैं तो बैगेज के साथ आती हैं कि हमें पता होता है करेक्ट एक्सप्रेशन क्या है, ऐसे देखना है कि ऐसे देखना है, करेक्ट लुक क्या है. हम रॉनेस भूल जाते हैं कई बार कि सीधा ही देख लो यार, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, वो रॉ है. आप एक नई लड़की को बोलोगे देखो तो वो शायद ऐसे ही देख लेगी. हम थोड़ा सा ऐसे झुका के देखेंगे कि हमें मालूम है करेक्ट, थोड़ा सा सॉफ्ट, थोड़ा सा टाइम लेके to unlearn that. Wow. And then just learn again how your director wants you to be is the most amazing thing that I probably learned there. And so he told me the lines are already poetic. Don't add your recitation to it. Just say them straight. And so I did. But then the impact was amazing. So so I think that is when a good director you can leave yourself to. A brilliant actor you can just leave yourself to and just have fun. And I think I've been lucky that way, Shweta. I've been very, very fortunate.
How lovely, absolutely. There's another question by Ayushi. She's asking, she loved your performance in Lutera, and it was
मेरा तो रोल ही कट गया था यार. Or shoo.
All right, but lovely film and
it's okay. Yeah, it was a lovely film, but मेरा रोल कट गया था. It was a very poetic film, beautiful songs, beautifully shot.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, next question.
But thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. Today you've had 3 back-to-back live sessions.
But I'm enjoying all of them.
That's great. That's great.
This was really lovely. Different and lovely. And talking about people you love and admire is always very uplifting and elevating. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And keep doing the good work that you do, Shweta. Thank you so much,
Sam.
man.
Thank you, ma'am. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Happy lockdown.
Yes, soon. Bye.
An amazing session there. This was surreal क्योंकि आज ये पहली बार हुआ है कि हम जिनके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं she actually joined. You know, I think my favorite takeaway from my episode 3 is Shabana ji actually joining. Thank you so much, Shabana ji, for joining. And if we do a quick recap in what Divya ma'am said, what she spoke about Shabana ji's performances was she picked two films, just a recap, Mandi and Earth. And दोनों फिल्में काफी अलग हैं. अगर आप देखेंगे तो मंडी is available on Netflix, Earth is available on YouTube. Please catch it if you haven't already. आपको ये बहुत ही बढ़िया फिल्में हैं and they are you know, it's sheer joy. Just go ahead and watch these films. तो कई सारी चीजें उन्होंने मुझे बताई, जैसे एक कोस्टार का कितना बड़ा योगदान होता है आपके परफॉर्मेंस पे. आई थिंक इट मेक्स अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस when you know performing, and I completely agree with that you acting is more about response. जो आप respond करते हैं अपने कोस्टार को rather than you know saying your own lines. And I think it's a big takeaway of what she said, her experience in Badlapur, जहाँ पर they said you know you have to unlearn certain things. It's not necessary कि आपने जो एक फॉर्मूला बिठा दिया कि अच्छा इस प्रोजेक्ट में क्या था ये तो काम कर गया, but you have to keep reinventing yourself. And wow, what a learning experience this was. I think इस एपिसोड के बारे में मैं काफी कुछ सीखने वाली हूँ. Thank you everyone for